So welcome to WTF Stories and Advice. I'm Caroline Cranshaw.
And I'm Daryl Gove.
And I'm kind of hyper.
you look at, I've got an audio visual now of Caroline. We're on Zoom, and so we can see each other. And I'm laughing just looking at you.
Hey, and what name did you give me? Brunhilde Lola, what? What does it say?
My third Countess of Moldavia.
Oh, what a lovely name. Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, how are you handling this lockdown?
I'm actually loving it. I feel really bad about that because I know for a lot of people it's really shit. But for me, it's not too much different from my normal life. I work from home. And I moved 3 weeks before the lockdown to this beautiful place. So I'm really happy just to have some time to myself. I don't want it to extend. And I feel really bad for my family members and friends that are kind of stuck in crazy places. And of course, all the people that are getting sick and losing their jobs. But the actual being at home's fine. That's not a problem. What about you?
No, I'm good. I think for me, I work from home. I socialize from home. I teach from home. I do everything from home. But being told that I have to stay home, now I don't want to stay home.
Yep.
Because that's my personality. You tell me to do something and I don't want to do it. And I think that being American, I'm just a pain in the ass anyways.
2 nights ago, I had a dream that I was in a Thai jail.
Oh.
A jail in Thailand. And I woke up from that dream and it didn't feel a whole lot different.
Well, I think where you are now is a little bit better than a Thai jail, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what's awesome about this jail is it's beautiful, but it still feels like a jail. So I just went back into meditation, accessed the dream state and said, okay, Daryl in the dream in Thailand, what advice have you got for Daryl in lockdown? And it was pretty much make your environment as beautiful as you can. Like tidy things up, clear things up, make it as nice as you can, because whatever happens, then you're going to feel really good. So yeah, there's some advice to begin with from Dream State Daryl. Make your house beautiful.
I've been having a lot of weird dreams lately. I had a dream the other night that I couldn't go outside at all. Like overnight, someone had come and put locks on all the outsides of our doors of the house, and that this was what everyone had, and we weren't allowed to leave the house at all. And I was pissed.
Yeah, I would say you would be very angry.
Because at least I'm going out and going for walks and getting fresh air. It's funny, though. It reminded me of that dream analysis technique that we teach.
Yes.
Yeah. And it reminded me, I thought this actually would be kind of a cool thing to talk about. There's something called Gestalt dream work, and it's a way of analyzing your dreams. And you are the author of your dreams, right? You are the writer, the director, the star. Every aspect of your dream is yourself. And I know for me, I trained in this technique, and where the teacher's kind of talking about it, and he said, does anyone have a reoccurring dream? And I said, I do. And the reoccurring dream I was having at the time was I would be out somewhere and I'd be with someone and they would die. And instead, like in a normal situation, if something like that happened, right, you would call 911 or 111, you would call emergency services, you would get help, you would do something. But always in the dream, they would die. And I'd be like, oh my God, people are going to think I killed them. So what I need to do is hide their body. So for years and years, I had this reoccurring dream that I'd be with someone, they would die of natural causes. It was never me murdering them, but they were dead. And so then I would take their body out in the woods and bury them. And then I'd go back to check to make sure that the grave hasn't been disturbed. And there'd be another dead body on top of it. And I'd be like, oh shit. So I'd have to bury this other dead body. And it was just this constant awful dream. And I couldn't figure out what it meant. And so, of course, I volunteer. And so the guy has me come up in front of the class and I describe this dream and he has me close my eyes when I do it. And by doing that, it's kind of like an induction of a meditative state or hypnosis, actually, right? Because you're closing your eyes and you're going into an REM state, remembering this dream. Then he said, okay, I want you to describe the dream again, but you're the dead body. And so I'm like, I'm the dead body. I'm Caroline's marriage. Caroline's marriage is dead and it's not coming back to life. And Caroline keeps trying to bury it and go to therapists and try to do, because I think in the dream I'd also like call up therapists and be like, what should I do? And they'd be like, report it, and I'd be like, oh no, I can't do that.
No,
that's like completely a logical thing to do. And I'm not doing anything logical right now. And so, I just basically say as this dead body that I was my marriage. And this is my first marriage. And so I kind of like opened my eyes in front of the class and everyone's looking at me with their mouths hanging open, of course, going, and it was like, he was like, well, do you feel like your marriage is dead? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I mean, because at that point we had been to 4 or 5 different marriage counselors who the first 4 were like, oh, you can work on this. And they'd give us all these rules and exercises to do, and we do it. And then it would just all fall apart again. Finally, the 5th one we went to, who we actually went to after I had that dream and had analyzed that in front of the class. And she was American as well. And obviously we're in New Zealand right now. And she said to me, like, I think I came one day when my husband wasn't there. And she said, honey, this marriage is dead. It is a dead horse and you're beating it. It's not going to get back up. You need to end your relationship. And thank God for therapists that tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And that for me, like I work with couples all the time and I tell them a lot of the time, this isn't working. You guys need to break up. And other relationship therapists get like furious at me when they hear that I say this to people and they can't believe it because, the protocol of relationship therapy normally is no matter what, you fight for the relationship and every relationship can be saved. And I don't agree. It's really interesting what you can find through that method of dream analysis. So for you, it was about making your home beautiful.
Well, yeah, I guess the dream itself was about being in jail. And I asked for a message from the me that was in jail.
Yeah.
And the other part of it that was significant was that I knew that in a year I was going to be rescued. So it was going to take a year for someone to get me out.
Oh, God, help us now, please.
But I don't think it was predictive of, well, who knows? We'll find out.
So if you close your eyes.
Yeah.
And just think of that dream again. And I want you to say or describe it from the point of view of the jail. I'm the jail.
I'm the jail. I'm big. I'm clean, even though I'm in Thailand. I'm concrete and I'm empty. And I've got a big playground where there's lots of people, but there's nobody near Daryl and the person that he's there with. There's a fence to the outside where people can walk by and see who's in the jail.
So why is Daryl in the jail? Why is Daryl inside of you?
Daryl's here for breaching regulations.
And does he deserve to be there?
No, he actually didn't breach any regulations, but he's been put here as a political tool. Oh.
Is it because Daryl spoke out? What did he do to get put there?
He bombed a casino in Madrid.
What? Oh. Okay.
The jail.
Well, jail now, you're just talking shit. That didn't happen, right, Daryl?
No, I didn't do that.
Is that what you're feeling like doing at the moment? That's an interesting answer.
No, but I have just been watching Money Heist.
Oh, okay.
On Netflix, which is about robbing banks and stuff in Spain. Season 3.
So maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's an easy thing to do with people, and you just get them to describe the dream as it happened, try to get them to close their eyes, and then have them do it again from, like, if their dog is in the dream, I'm the dog, blah, blah, blah. What do you have to say? And you can get the different characters to talk to each other as well.
And do you know what? Just doing that really quickly in my head, like I'm jumping to this lady that walks past and sees me through the fence. Mm-hmm. And I'm aware that at some point she's going to tell someone who's going to tell someone they're going to get me out. I realized that is my school playground. It was concrete. And it was big, and it was a very small school, so there was lots of space. And I usually only spoke to one person, and the lady outside looks in, and she sees me for who I am. And
Interesting.
That's what she sees, and it could be to do with sexuality, being in the closet back then. I'm not sure, but at the end, I know that in a year, my dad's going to come and rescue me.
Huh. Yeah, so that's just a little way you can analyze dreams, and it's just really interesting. So,
isn't there a book that describes step by step how you can do that? Is it Martha Beck?
She's got another method of dream analysis, which, of course, I am forgetting at the moment. But yeah, she does talk about that in, is it Finding Your North Star by Martha Beck?
I think the one I'm thinking of is maybe Steering by Starlight.
I think right.
And I borrowed it from you, and it was, you become each part of the dream as well. She uses a bit of Gestalt in there.
Yeah. But the book where I got that one from, and the person who I trained with, is a guy named Randal Churchill. Yeah. And he has a hypnotherapy school in Corte Madera, Marin County, California. And he is amazing. Like amazing therapist and teacher. If you are interested in ever training in hypnotherapy or anything along those lines, I highly recommend his school. If you're in the States, he's just unbelievably good. Wow, cool.
Until we get your school online, of course. And then.
Yes, of course. Well, yeah. Never mind. If you're in New Zealand, you should definitely train with us at the Integrative Hypnotherapy Institute, which it will be coming online soon, won't it?
Well, it has to, doesn't it?
It does. So the other thing I thought we should talk about is manifestation, but we should have a little segue into that, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I've got a little song that we could use as a segue. I learned it when I was like 14. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, so this is just the perfect segue. Would you like to sit on my face? It's a very comfortable place. Put your piss flaps over my nose. Would you like to suck on my hose? It's an animal. Put your left leg over my shoulder. Put your right leg over my shoulder.
What? Oh my fucking God. I'm leaving that in. Just so you know, that is fucking gold.
You can leave that in.
The thing, where did you learn that song, Daryl?
I was in France on holiday. We went there every year as a family. We'd drive down through Scotland and England, get a ferry, and we'd be allowed to drink, quite young because we're Scottish. So we'd be like 14, 15, having a few beers with our friends. And these boys, they must have been about 15, just went up onto the stage. It was a big stage near the bar, and they just started singing this, and I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, so that's where I got that. Random drunk guys.
Oh my God. I was not expecting that at all, but thank you for sharing that. And I hope my children don't listen to that and start singing it.
But it brings us perfectly into manifestation, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess if you're trying to manifest oral sex, that would be something that would possibly work. Oh my God.
Exactly. And who isn't? Let's be honest.
Yeah, some people don't like oral sex.
I do know that, yeah.
I just am gobsmacked by that.
Yeah, I mean, do you mean like gobsmacked by people not liking giving or receiving? Or both?
Both.
Because I can understand if someone's got a minging, they don't wash properly. Minging is Scottish for disgusting. So if they don't wash properly, then that's not going to be enjoyable. But
I dated a guy who had a phobia of performing oral sex on girls because of that some girl sat on his face and wouldn't get off when I think she had a yeast infection or something. And he literally had this massive phobia. I didn't date him for long. Bye-bye. But yeah.
And you're getting out.
Exactly. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously you have to be clean, and that goes both ways, but it's interesting. But what I find interesting also is I know a lot of women that are quite happy to give it, but not receive it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be along that same thing with women being uncomfortable with masturbation, like from the Catholic guilt perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, and I just think that's so sad. I think that having oral sex performed on you is one of the greatest joys of life. And yeah, I think it's learning to be comfortable. I think some people are funny with, and this again, more women. I don't know many guys that don't want to have oral sex performed on them, right? Have you ever met any?
Straight guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you mean performed on them by a man, possibly? No. Could that be? Did they turn down your offer?
No. I can't actually think off the top of my head of any guy that I know that doesn't like oral sex being performed on them. Mm. I have had lots of conversations about it as you go through the years to do it, and I have had guys comment that their girlfriend was a bit toothy and could I tell her how to do it properly, please?
Ouch.
Yeah. But that's not a phobia.
I was taught by gay men on how to give head. Seems ideal. Well, I didn't do it on them. No. But I did get an interesting demo in a hot tub once. Yeah. And I learned a lot. And
I've got a friend in New Zealand, I won't say her name, but when she was like, I don't know, 19, I would have been 20. We sat outside the mall around the back in the smoking area because we were smokers. And I taught her using a banana. Uh-huh. And she came back like a few weeks later. My boyfriend is so grateful to you, Daryl. He's so grateful.
I bet he was. Manifestation. That's what we were going to talk about before we got completely segued with Oral Sex by Daryl's lovely little ditty he sang for us.
So, Caroline, how do we manifest?
I'll tell you the best trick that I have ever found. I may have talked about this on the podcast before, and if I have, forgive me, but it's something you probably should hear again then. One thing I do is new moon wishes. I think that's quite a good one, which I definitely have talked about in other podcasts, where you just write down 10 things you want to manifest on the new moon, like within 24 hours of the new moon. And people plant by the new moon. So there is definitely something to that where it's like a growth phase of the moon cycle. But there's this other technique, and I read this book years ago, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a really out there book. It's like Creating Entities. But it was all about manifestation. Now, I don't agree with the book was like, we're talking like almost like witchcraft, right? Like you take cuttings of your hair and nails and you do some type of ritual and you imagine this entity forming and you give this entity like jobs to do for you, like things to go out and manifest. And I remember thinking, oh, crap. Whoops. Hang on. Here, I'll just answer this call. Why not?
Why not?
Hello, Scarlett. I'm just in the middle of filming a podcast right now, and you've just rung right in the middle of it. Can I help you?
Can I feature?
Oh, hi, caller.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
So entity. So you make an entity. It's like witchcraft. You get your hair, nails, and you create this entity, and you give it jobs to do for you. And I think then she rang.
Yeah. So you do this ritual, and I thought that was way too much to do. And I thought it was a bit out there and kind of strange, burning hair and nails and stuff like that. But I belonged to this meditation group at the time. The woman who led the meditation group is amazing. You know her. Her name is Ellie Numia. She is this like world-renowned healer, and she's a pagan high priestess. The meditation group was actually like pagan high priestess training, which was out there. But she kind of led us through this meditation of manifestation. And she said, just visualize whatever manifestation means to you, or let your subconscious or, your inner guidance or whatever she called it, like guide you on what's a good technique for you to manifest. So she didn't give us like a lot of instructions. It was kind of like, you just do this and see what comes up. And so I'm doing this, and I remembered that book. And then I like kind of just had this visualization of like a part of my energy kind of like splitting off for me and like becoming like this ball in front of me and turning into like this little man. And I kind of asked it its name. It said his name was Michael. Like, I don't know why the fuck his name is Michael or why it was a man. Michael. And he said, or maybe I had, like, when I had read the book, I had imagined that. There was something along those lines. I'm trying to remember exactly. I mean, this was 15 years ago now. But in the meditation, it was like, well, you need to give me some jobs. Like, what do you want me to manifest? And I had wanted an office. I'm sure, have I told this story? I must have told this. I've told this story so many times. I don't think I have. So at the time, I wanted to manifest an office. And I think I had the exact office in mind, but it was way out of my price range. And it was in a law firm, and it was like 3 times as much as I wanted to pay, but it was right by my house. It would have been perfect. And so the next day or a couple of days later, and I'm sure at the same time I had put this into my new moon wishes. So I had like done both processes for this, but I visualized getting an office like that, but for like $150 a week, which I think at the time they were asking for like $350 a week plus GST, which is like 15%. And so the next day I was going to go to the grocery store, and I just had this feeling I should go get a cup of coffee, which I like never did in the middle of the day. And so I go and I see this sign for an office for rent. So I go and I look at it, and it's just this like shithole. So I go inside. It's awful. It's like a rabbit warren. There's holes in the walls. They wanted like $270 a week, something crazy like that. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't going to work for me at all. And so I'm kind of walking out, and the lady said, well, there's an office across the street at the law firm. And I said, oh, it's way out of my price range. She's like, well, it can't hurt to ask. And so I walk over. The receptionist is like on the phone, or I say to her, do you have an office for rent? She's like, oh, no, it's been taken. So I start walking out, and the guy, this lawyer, comes running out and chases me and says, well, are you interested in the office? And I said, yeah, I am, but I heard it's taken. And he said, well, I was just on the phone, and the person's decided not to take it. Do you want to see it? So I go upstairs and I look at it, and it's perfect. It's everything I want. It's upstairs. It's got a balcony. It's got like built-in wood bookcases. It's beautiful. And it has parking and reception and internet and phone line. There's everything you could want. And I said, well, yeah, it's lovely. How much? And he said, oh, how about $150 a week? And I was like, oh, yes, I'll take it. And he was like, no. I meant $350 a week, $350. And I was like, I can't afford $350. And he was like, okay, fine. So, and this is when I'm just starting out as a hypnotherapist. I've got like no freaking clients. At that point, I think I had only done people for free, maybe like had a couple of paying clients. So I move into this office. I am absolutely stoked, but I have no clients. And so I then again go, okay, well, if that like little entity is real, then I want you to do something else. I want you to get me some clients. And so I visualize this little like dude kind of floating off and getting me clients, and however that should take. And with the entity, like in the book, it says what you do is you have them have a home. So like a vase or a painting or something special that is going to be where they kind of live when they're not doing things for you. And you have to give them some type of food. So food can be praise. You can do offerings. Like when you go and you see people who have the kind of things for, when they have like a bit of an altar, or like in Thailand, they have these a lot, right? Where there's like food and incense and there's things. Yeah. And I think it really is for the kind of spirits, isn't it? Is it for ancestors but there's some type of like manifestation bent to it.
Yeah, I think in lots of cultures, they leave offerings to spirits and ancestors. Like in China, they make like paper money at like once per year.
Yeah.
And give it to their ancestors so they've got money to spend in the afterlife. So it's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided my food was going to be praise of like, thank you so much, because that's an easy thing you can do. But yeah, so I asked it to get me clients. And so then like a few days later, I'm driving somewhere, and normally I would always bring my iPod with me, and I've never listened to the radio in the car, and I forgot my iPod. So I actually like drove back home, went up to the front door to go inside, and something in me was like, no, get in your car and listen to the goddamn radio. And it really was like almost like this grumpy voice in my head. So I'm like, fine. And so I get back in my car, I turn on the radio, and almost instantly, this woman starts talking and saying how Lily Allen had lost all this weight with hypnotherapy, and that if anyone knows any good hypnotherapists, let her know, and she'll, put them on air and do all the stuff. And I was like, oh my God. So I literally went home, or, went to wherever I was going, came back home, wrote a webpage on weight loss and hypnotherapy because I didn't even have one at that point, and contacted her. And she contacted me back. And she said that actually like 2 other people had given her my name as someone to recommend, which I found that was amazing. And so I hypnotized her, and she recorded it, and she put it on air, and she talked about it for like 3 weeks straight on the radio. And I went from having like 2 clients a week, maybe, to being fully booked like 4 to 6 months out.
Wow.
I don't think it's like practicing witchcraft. I don't know. Maybe it's just your subconscious mind then will look for opportunities to make you busy. Maybe that's it. I don't want people to think I'm like working with like the underworld or some bullshit like that.
Well, it does sound really witchy poo-poo, scary, creep, devil worship, but
no.
It sounds like that, but I don't think that's what it is. It's all to do with where you put your attention, isn't it? So having a ritual of cutting your hair, nails, whatever, even though you didn't do that part, that's all about, it almost puts you into a trance, which is saying, I'm getting ready to do something. Then creating the entity and imagine it going off and doing things. I mean, I do that with my clients all the time. I have them create a second part of themselves that goes and it works on attacking the cancer cells, or it goes educating their immune system how to behave properly, or it goes out looking for the job that they need. And it's, if we think of human beings, and again, Gestalt, we've got these different parts of us. You've assigned a task to a part. So even though that part might not be dominant at any moment in time, unconsciously it's alert, looking for what you've assigned it to look for.
So maybe it's just activating the reticulating activating system in the brain, right? I don't even know if I said that correctly.
Right. It's basically giving your brain an instruction. It's saying to your brain, I want you to do this. And it's the method that you use. I do the same thing, but I speak to God stroke the universe. Yeah. I say, God, I need $1,500 in a week. Or I'll say universe, depending on what mood I'm in. And then, and I'll just imagine that happening, that's been answered and that it's going to come to me. And I think the more effort that you put into it changes the result, because even for the Christians out there, a lot of people, they don't know how to pray properly. Yeah. Like, how should you pray? What is the correct way to pray? And I think it's with emotion, with visualization, with not just words, not just a quick, hi God, thanks for the food. It's like actually sitting with the food, being grateful for the food, looking at the food, thinking about where the food came from, sending that gratitude up into heaven or wherever, and feeling it within your heart. That's a completely different experience, and it's going to change the meal for you to say grace in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think, even they've done these studies where they'll like say really loving words to like, they'll take 2 jars of rice, right? And they'll say 1 jar of rice, they pray over it and they tell it it's beautiful and they love it and they do all these lovely things. And then the other one, they're like, I hate you, you're ugly, la, la, la. And the one that they send the kind of negative energy towards like turns black and is molding, where the other one doesn't. It's really interesting. Like our thoughts and what we think about, what we visualize definitely has some type of energy, and it influences the environment around us. So I think it's interesting, like with that manifestation tool, I do that with clients all the time. I remember this guy coming to me years and years ago, and I'm like, what can I, when they sit down and I'm like, okay, how can I help? And he's like, well, I don't even know why the hell I'm here, but I was telling my neighbor that I'm in this desperate situation. And he's like, well, the only person I know that could help you with this is this woman named Caroline Cranshaw. And so you're a hypnotherapist. I don't know how the hell you're going to help me with this, but basically he needed to come up with $150,000 within 30 days or he was going to lose everything.
Ooh.
And that he had done this kind of like, I think he was a real estate developer and he had maxed himself out completely and it had gone over budget and he couldn't borrow anymore, and he'd already like borrowed from everyone he possibly could, and he was still $150,000 short, and it was like he had this due date. And I said, well, the only thing I know that really works is this. So we'll just do a little visualization of a part of your energy kind of forming off. I want you to imagine it has a home, like a painting or some type of little sculpture or something that it can live in. Decide what kind of food you're going to give it, if that's praise or, you're going to put fruit in front of it or whatever. And we're just going to give it the job of giving you $150,000 within 30 days. And he was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? I cannot believe I'm listening to you. He was really, and he's like, but I am so fucking desperate. And I prepaid for this appointment. Honestly, if I hadn't prepaid for this appointment, I'd be walking out right now because you sound fucking crazy. And I said, well, sometimes crazy is what you need. Like everything else isn't working for you. So you might as well do it. And he's just like, fine. And so we did this visualization of him getting the money and just whatever opportunities. And I got an email and he sent me either a bottle of wine or flowers, or he sent me something afterwards. And he said, thank you so much. I don't know how the fuck you did that, which I didn't do it, but he did. But he got that amount of money like the day the deadline was due. He said money came from just the most random places. And I think the last thing was some like refund of something that he wasn't even expecting, or something that had been recalled and he got a refund on it. And he just said he got it to the penny. I think he got like 1 penny over that amount within that 30 days and his ass was saved. So that is my recommendation for manifestation. Sounds a bit weird, but hey. So what about you? Do you have any other tips for manifestation?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's all about emotion. Because if I want to manifest something, the first thing that I remember, and you have to learn it first before you can remember it, of course, is that I am the universe, that I'm not separate from the universe or from God, and therefore I'm in complete control of it. So it's kind of like the Matrix, there is no spoon. So you have to believe that. And if you can believe it, then you have like a mail order manifestation ability, as long as you want the thing that you're trying to manifest. So how do you do that? Well, you start with something easy. So manifesting maybe contact from a loved one, or manifesting a small amount of money. And you need to build up your belief that this manifestation is working, because then you can manifest bigger and bigger things. How I know that I'm on track with my life is when my manifestation works really well. When it's not working, that's a sign to me that, actually, you're not going in the right direction. There's something wrong, that the universe is resisting you. And because you are the universe, it means that you're resisting yourself. So check that you're in alignment with what you should be doing with your life. Then practice with small things. Manifest a song on the radio. And then as you gain your confidence, work up to bigger and bigger things. I have a similar story. I won't tell it because it's so similar with your client, and how I got the money that I needed. Okay, it was only a much smaller amount, but to me at that time, it was no way I could get that money. And it came in the strangest of ways to the dollar, just from asking for it. So writing it down is powerful, and having the painting or a vase, whatever it is, it's an anchor. Every time you look at that object, it reminds you of what you're manifesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Why the book, The Secret, where you cut things out of magazines and you make a secret board and you put it on the wall, a visualization board. Those are so powerful because you're frequently reminded what it is you're looking for. And when I did mine, it included things like learn to speak to dead people.
As you do.
Married, and everything on that board I've done except for go to Germany, and that's so far. Going to Germany is an easy one.
Yeah,
and so I recommend make it visual, make it emotional. Above everything is get a belief in it. How would you learn the belief? 2 books that I can recommend is Conversation with God, by Neil Walsh. And that will help to convince you that you're not separate from God or the universe. And another book, well, it's not a book, it's an audio download. It's Deepak Chopra, The Secret of Healing, where he teaches you how to heal your body or your mind. Step 1 is remembering that you're the universe. So he'll teach you through that audio how to be the universe.
Oh, that's very cool. And I think the other thing is that if you don't get it, then trusting that that's the right thing. I think, you kind of said that as well, but I know for recently found the most perfect premises for offices, for our school. It was just so perfect. I couldn't believe it. The price was perfect, everything. It was all go. And then at the last minute, the woman who was supposed to move out of it decided that she was going to keep the tenancy. And I was so gutted that I was literally like so upset for a week afterwards. And then this whole freaking coronavirus thing hit and things start getting shut down. It was in a medical center, like a massive medical center, which is like, probably not where people want to go right now.
No.
And yeah, really like literally next to a blood lab. So it's like, I just think, thank God that didn't happen. And I had pulled out every manifestation trick in the book. Like if I ever want to manifest a place or like a place to live, or, if I find somewhere where I want to go, I'll write my name with the address like 9 times. And I did that over and over. And I made my partner do it as well. And I just did all this stuff. And I could not believe it when it didn't come through. I just went, what the hell? I always get what I want. I always manifest what I know is right. And the place was so perfect, but we'd be paying a massive amount of rent right now, not being able to utilize the place. And we don't even know when we're actually going to be able to see people face to face. And we don't know when we're actually going to be able to teach in person. So I think that it would cost me a ton of money that would have completely stressed me out.
Exactly. And that's the thing. The universe has your highest good on its mind at all times, even if it doesn't seem like it. So if you can't get something or your manifestation's not working, there's a good reason for it. I was meant to move house recently, and the flat I was meant to move to fell through. And so I ended up moving in with my sister, her husband, and their between 4 and 6 kids, depending on the week. And I feel so blessed because during this lockdown, it's been brilliant having so many other people around, so many other adults around to chat with, hang out with, the kids to keep you busy. There's a baby. And at the time, even though I didn't get this place that was perfect for me to move into, I really wanted to live there. I just felt so right. Because by now I've learned to trust the universe. If I don't get what I think I want, it's because something better is around the corner.
It is. So it is learning to put it out there what you want, completely focus on what you want, but let go of the attachment to the outcome. Because if it doesn't happen, then it's not meant to be. It's not for you. And it's always hindsight's 2020, right? You look back and go, oh, thank God. And I think that goes for partners as well. I get so many people that help me get back my partner, or help me, they still hung up on somebody, but it's like, when that doesn't work out with them, they actually end up meeting someone way better for them. So it's just trusting that the universe has your back and it is going to work out. So I think, even I've had to learn that again recently, because I was just like, no, and trying to push it. But I think, thank God my manifestation didn't work. I feel sorry for the woman who kept the premises, because she'll be paying a shit ton of rent right now.
Well, exactly. She won't be staying there after.
No. So I might get it for cheaper.
And quicker. Did I, Caroline, tell you about the time when a guy kept trying to use things to manifest me?
No, I don't think so. No,
it was someone that I'd broken up with, and he actually even publicly put on Facebook that he was using these tools to kind of get me back, and I really wasn't interested. So anyway, I got really angry, and I severed all contact at that, because I don't feel like it's ethical to try and use your manifestation powers on a specific individual from my point of view. And not that it would work anyway, because everyone has their own free will. But however, I didn't like the energy around it. And so fast forward, I didn't speak to him for 10 years. And then I was teaching hypnotherapy one day, and one of my new students who's a bit psychic came up to me and says, look, Daryl, there's someone around you right now. I'm like, no, there isn't. Like, well, look, no, Daryl, there is someone around you. I'm like, look, I'm closed off to spirit right now. I don't want to hear anything. He's like, well, look, there is. I'm just telling you. I'm like, well, look. And he says, Daryl, there is someone around you. His name's XYZ. And I was like, well, look, I don't know anybody with that name. Well, I do know one person, but I'm pretty sure they're not dead. So, look, I think you're bullshitting me. And at the time, I just didn't like the energy of insisting on giving me messages from spirit that I was vocally rejecting.
Yeah.
And so
there's someone behind you.
What now?
No, there was just a child looking in the window.
Oh, was there?
No, sorry. It was just funny.
So while we're recording this, a child appeared behind me and I got really freaked out when Caroline pointed it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm in class and the student is telling me, Daryl, this person is around you. I completely rejected it and got a little bit annoyed. I don't think I showed it too much, but I just shut the conversation down. I don't want to talk about this, don't want to hear it. It was lunchtime, so I usually walk up to get some fresh air and get away from the students for 5 minutes. And I stepped out of the building, turned right, and I walked for about 10 meters. And there was this guy with the name XYZ.
The name that
the guy had said, who had previously been using that manifestation energy.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh, and I spoke to this guy and he was like, I'm moving overseas next week. And I was like thinking, good. Because that energy was still there enough for someone else to pick up on it. How crazy is that?
Did he know you were teaching? That guy?
No, we hadn't spoken for years and years. We don't have any mutual friends, really. No, we hadn't kept in touch. Weren't on each other's Facebook. I just haven't worked around the corner.
That's just crazy. So this person was picking up on their energy and even their name, but didn't.
Yeah. But thank God he was alive because, don't want him dead, of course. Nice guy. Yeah. Just don't want to date him.
No. So do you have any book recommendations?
Do you know what I do? But given that a lot of people are locked down, can I give a quick social game recommendation first?
Of course.
Okay, so for those of you who've got Zoom, it's a video conferencing app. You can download it easy, just zoom.us, where you can it's like FaceTime. You can share your screen if you're on a laptop. Mm-hmm. And you can download this game called Jackbox Party. Now Jackbox Party, it's basically funny word games and quizzes and things like that. And you access it on your mobile phone at the same time. So everyone's on the computer and you're chatting to each other face to face. And at the same time you've got your mobile phone out, then questions will appear, which you then answer on your phone. And so it can be like a quick fire quiz round where you're answering quiz questions, or it can be things like complete the phrase. People don't like me because I've got a tiny blank. And then you compete to have the most offensive or funny answer, and you vote on who has the funniest answer.
Oh, nice.
So I've spent many, many Christmases and holidays playing this with the family on the TV. Yeah. But you can play it on your laptop on Zoom, or you could have House Party on in the background, but you kind of want to do it on a laptop with Zoom because then everybody can actually see the questions at the same time. You share your screen. The game is called Jackbox Party. Each pack, so there's packs 1 to 6, includes 5 different games. So you've got one called Trivia Murder Party, where if you don't get questions right, your character gets murdered or fingers chopped off and things like that.
Ow! So, how do you download it?
So you can get it from the Epic Games Store. I think you can get it from the Steam Store. You can get it directly from the Mac Store if you've got Apple. If you just go to Google Jackbox Party, click on their website, it will give you all the different options, and they're all different prices as well. So today, the cheapest was on the Epic Games Store. I've downloaded 2 packs. I already own it on my Nintendo, but I bought it for my Mac so that I can play it with the family this weekend. It's going to be a hoot. And Caroline, I'll invite you and Grant to a party, so because your mind is probably filthier than mine, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I actually have a party on Zoom on Saturday night.
Ah, nice.
So maybe I'll do it for that. Yeah.
Try it. Honestly, get it. I've got a Jackbox party on Saturday night. There's going to be, you can have up to 10 people on the pack 6, and I think up to 8 people on pack 3, which is the 2 that I bought. I recommend pack 3. And it's a hoot.
3. Oh, that's a very good recommendation. So here we go.
Jackbox
Pack Party 3. That was like the first thing that came up.
And for a book recommendation, just give, actually it's funny, I didn't make the connection as to why I chose this book, but this book is called 3096 Days. Mm-hmm. It's the story of Natasha Kampusch. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She's an Austrian girl who, when she was 10 years old, she was abducted and she was kept in a cellar for 10 years. I think it was eight years, for 8 years.
Yeah.
And she escaped in August 2006, I think it was. And in there, she was like beaten and starved. And I know this is a story that there's several versions of, like several people have been through this. What I like about this book is her attitude to the whole thing. She reframes Stockholm Syndrome and says, actually, it's actually not a mental illness. That's my body and my mind behaving to protect me by having me bond with any human, the only human that I had. And she goes into a lot of detail about what it was like being down there, how she was treated, and, the usual horrible things that they go through. But she also keeps some things private in a really nice way. I recommend it because she came out sane. She explains things differently from other people in the same situation. It's not about the horror, it's about the survival.
Wow.
So yeah, Natasha Kampusch, 3096 Days. It's a short read. It's not too long, but for me, I couldn't put it down once I picked it up.
Wow. Oh, that sounds very interesting. I'll have to check it out. So the book I am recommending is by Glennon Doyle, and it's called Untamed. And I think at the moment, when I checked last night, it was number 2 on Amazon. I've never read any of her books before. She's written, her first one was called Carry On Warrior. And then she wrote another one called Love Warrior, which I think Love Warrior was chosen by Oprah's book club. And this is her latest one, but it's really interesting. She was like a mommy blogger. I think she started a blog called Momastery or something like that. And she was like a Christian mommy blogger, right?
Yeah.
And so she was, but she would talk, I haven't really checked out her other stuff yet, but very kind of openly about her trials and tribulations. And she had an eating disorder and she's a recovering alcoholic and struggles with being a mother. And so she wrote this first book kind of about that, about her own stuff. And then her second book, which is Love Warrior, is about her relationship with her husband and his infidelities.
Ooh.
And them kind of working through that, working through it through therapy. And so she wrote that book. And then when she was going to promote that book, she meets a woman named Abby Wambach. And Abby Wambach was considered the best soccer player in the world. Like, she has scored more goals than any player, male or female, and is just, is like Olympic champion.
Yeah.
So she had written a book at the same time, and they were both promoting their books, and they met and they fell like instantly in love.
Oh.
Instantly in love. And both of them left their partners for each other on one meeting. One meeting. They just like met each other and went, that's it.
Ooh.
And so this book is it's a little bit about that journey, but it's just, I have highlighted half this book. Like, it is so on my Kindle, of course, but my God, she says some profound things. And one of the things that I found just amazing was she talks about finding your purpose and how people are always complaining about they can't find their purpose, which is something I hear all the time. Do you hear this all the time with clients?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I should be doing. I hate my job. Like, I hear this all the time. And also, I don't have enough friends, or I don't feel like I'm connected with my friends, or, I want to find my tribe is kind of like the terminology people use. And so she talks about how she's like, oh, that's easy. That's easy to find both of those things. What you do is you think about what breaks your heart, what upsets you incredibly. What is your trigger with stuff? Is it animal cruelty? Is it bullying? Is it, like, for me, bullying was always a big thing. If people were being bullied, I would bully the bully so badly that I had students like leave schools where I would go for that.
I believe that.
Yeah. I was the bully of the bullies, which is not okay either. I've apologized to people I've run into. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was wanting to protect people that weren't confident, that people were struggling, because that's normally who bullies pick on, right? They don't pick on the confident, happy ones. They pick on the ones who already have stuff going on. And for me, my purpose is, I believe, helping people deal with what's hurting them, or, becoming more confident, or dealing with their issues. And so she talks about, what is it for you? Because that is what your purpose is, even if you find it upsetting, but it's what you're passionate about, right? And that when you go towards that and you move towards what breaks your heart, what triggers you, and you move towards that, you will find your tribe naturally. And I just thought that was so profound. It's like so simple.
It's so simple, but it makes so much sense. So many people, they find it hard to know what they want, but they definitely know what they don't want. So if we look at the extreme of what you don't want, and what's the opposite of that? Maybe you don't want to be lonely. Okay, maybe you want company. You don't want to be broke. Okay, so you want to have money. You want financial security. You want to be rich. Whatever it is. And what is it that you hate most? And for you, bullying. And, personally and professionally, I don't know anybody that builds people up as well as you do.
Oh, thank you.
You've helped me out in the past, and, I've seen you with the students and with clients, and you're just so good at boosting people's confidence and ego. And if I walked and somebody tried to bully me, I'd hear you in my head going, I will not be bullied. I will not be told what to do. There's a bitch inside of me, and we all got to love that bitch because she's got a job to do sometimes. So embrace the inner bitch and be strong and confident. So, I'd say that's good. So, for the folk listening today, you guys have got a couple of things you can do. You can like find your purpose and your tribe by looking at what disturbs you the most, and then you can manifest. You can write your new moon wishes, 10 things down on the new moon that you want. You can make a board. And then when you get something really cool, like you manifest something that's completely unbelievable, please write in and tell us so we can share it. So then people can know that, hey, this shit works.
Yes. Yeah. We'd love to hear your stories and just anything. If you have questions, I've got a few questions I've got to get through as well, but please send us your questions and stories, and we just absolutely love to hear it. And that's us for today. Hopefully you're getting through your quarantine or lockdown or whatever you want to call it. All right. And just know that it is going to be okay. It is going to work out. And hopefully this is all going to kind of pass quite quickly.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.